What is going on, guys? Today we are taking a look at Bill Ackman's stock portfolio. So, he's a pretty big hedge fund guy. He runs Pershing Square, which you guys may have heard of. He's an activist investor. He's in the news a decent amount. He made a pretty big bet on the COVID crash back in 2020, and he made a couple $1 billion, I believe. And then lately he was in the news again because he put on a pretty big short position on short-dated treasuries because he's thinks inflation's going to take off, and I guess he was kind of right on that. But that's not a crazy call. The COVID one was more impressive in my opinion. He had a SPAC that was going for a while. PSTH, I think, was the symbol, and then I don't think they ended up acquiring anyone. But very well-known guy in the finance industry. He's been relevant for 20-25 years. Reason we're taking a look at him today is one, because he's pretty well-known, but two, someone requested it down in the comments. And as long as the requests are reasonable, I'm always down to take ideas for videos. So I'm thinking that I'm gonna like most of his holdings just because he tends to be a no frills kind of guy. But he's still not afraid to take larger positions, when he feels it. So also, this is not investment advice. I don't even know if this list is current. The nicest looking, most comprehensive list I was able to find was off this random site called Cheaper Than Guru. So if this has some inaccuracies or it's outdated, please forgive me. And then none of this is financial, legal, or tax advice. This is just for entertainment. It's my opinions on things. So do your own research and consult a professional before investing. But biggest holdings. So this site claims that Lowe's is 25% of his portfolio. He bought at $51. Oh no, this is not him. This is just the website. So this is what I'm talking about. It's some sketchy website. So we're gonna ignore that. But he added 0.9% to this position in Q3 of 2021. So clearly pretty bullish on Lowe's. I do think Lowe's has done pretty well. Lowe's and Home Depot. Ever since, I don't know why it didn't come up when I searched it. Ever since the pandemic, there's been a pretty big rush on home improvement. So came out of the hole pretty fast. You can see it was down at 120 pre-COVID. Now we're sitting up at 233, so almost doubled. And I also think it pays a decent dividend. Let's see, 1.41%. That's not bad. Relatively conservative PE. Still a little pricey for a hardware company, but overall, I like the pick. I'm sure he's been in them for a while, if I had to guess. So I wouldn't be surprised if he's had it from back here. Next one is Hilton Worldwide Casinos, Inc. Or Hilton Worldwide Holdings, Inc. Except casinos. So it's all the hotels and motels led by Hilton, except the casino ones. I guess those are separate. Now, not a fan of this one, right? Yeah. Not a fan of hotels personally. Just not the business that I really like. I think it's pretty cyclical, can be hit hard by a lot of different things. And also I think business travel is kind of going to be disrupted for the foreseeable future, and that's a decent part of the hotel industry. If he bought, since he bought, I'm sure he bought at a good price, for him to have wanted to get into it. It was pretty low during COVID, so I can't imagine it was on crazy unattractive values. Looks like it's at a 70 PE now, but I bet they've had some rough quarters behind them. So it's about doubled since the bottom of the COVID crash. I guess that's kind of a recovery play. Like, I know people have made similar bets on like cruise lines and such. So I guess it's not unreasonable. But if that's actually true, that it's 21% of his portfolio, I'd be pretty shocked. Next up we have Chipotle Mexican Grill. I believe Chipotle just like literally like days ago had some like really good earnings. Yeah, you can see right here, shot up. It's pretty like a high-priced stock. Obviously, that doesn't mean anything about the valuation. Remember that the actual share price doesn't necessarily tell you anything about how expensive the stock is. But they could do it. They could totally do a split if they really wanted to. I didn't realize how hard it had gotten hit in the past 6 months, actually, because it had been doing pretty well throughout COVID. I guess it jumped up kind of last July, and it's just come back down. I do think it still trades kind of rich. It's 43 forward PE for like a burrito company. I know they have pretty strong customer loyalty, and their delivery business is pretty big, so they've actually done pretty well since COVID hit. But little rich. I'm curious how long he's been in that. Then there is food service contractors. Not too familiar with this company, but I'd imagine that they're I just literally assumed that was their ticker. I don't know why I assumed that. I have no idea what their ticker is. QSR. Oh, actually, I have heard of that. I think they own a couple of restaurants. Restaurant Brands International. Yeah. What do they own again? It's like some chains. Tim Hortons, Burger King, and Popeyes. That's who it was. Obviously, Tim Hortons a little bigger in Canada, I think, than the United States, but there are locations here. Burger King. Personally, never been a fan of Burger King. I think it's trash compared to McDonald's. And I don't know a single person that goes to Burger King, but maybe it's bigger in other areas of the country. Popeyes, I hear good things, but it's just kind of dwarfed by Chick-fil-A where I'm at. So, decent play. These are probably like more resilient restaurants to be in, especially like in economic downturn. Like, it's cheap enough that like a lot of people will still probably eat fast food. So yeah, not a bad holding. They claim it's 14.2% of his portfolio. Next up is Howard Hughes. I don't know this company. I'm guessing it's like some sort of financial company. You can see all these articles here about Bill Ackman buying it. It's a real estate company, I guess, but it's not a REIT. They do operating assets, master plan communities, Seaport District, and strategic development. So they own 15 retail, 33 office, 12 multifamily, 3 hospitality, and 13 other operating assets across the Woodlands, Texas. Oh, that's the town. Woodlands, Texas, Chicago, Illinois, Columbia, Maryland, Las Vegas, Nevada, and Honolulu, Hawaii. Very interesting. And I guess they're from Texas originally. Must be a smaller company. I don't know what industry they have ranked in 2 out of 3. I don't know. 126 PE. Interesting. I mean, I guess it's possible this company's a REIT, and that would explain that. But I feel like I would have heard of it by now. It is in real estate, but I don't know if it's a REIT. I don't know enough about it to really say anything. Now, Domino's. Domino's has actually been one of the best performing investments over a long period of time as far as individual stocks go. Like it's been a higher return than a lot of other publicly traded companies, which is kind of shocking to think about. But you can see it's $7.32 back here. It's now up at $440. It was actually up at $564 at one point, so maybe that's when I saw that article. But that is a pretty massive increase on a percentage basis. Pretty resilient business. I think they're often criticized for like their lack of like dine-in. It's strictly delivery, so like you're not really utilizing the physical real estate. But then again, you also get to like buy property in areas where the real estate, like the physical location, doesn't really matter. So it could be like a little more secluded, or maybe off like the road. Yeah, decent pick, kind of conservative. Got another hotel company here, High Hotels. Not really anything new to say about them. Apparently it's sold. I guess these are all holdings that he closed out of. So, I wouldn't be surprised if this list is like kind of inaccurate. We can go and look at some of these other... Oh, wait, maybe it is just 6 stocks. There's an article here about it. Wow, that's kind of impressive. Let's fact check it off some other articles here. Domino's Pizza, yep. Howard Hughes, yep. Restaurant brands, okay. Hilton, yes. Chipotle. And of course there's another article for the other two. Agilent. I don't know if I've heard of them. And Lowe's, okay. So let's look at some of the ones he's offloaded, but first let's look at Agilent. The name sounds kind of familiar, but I really nothing comes to mind. Are they like a tech company or a chemical company? I can't remember. Technology. Okay, yeah. And it is kind of chemical related because it's chromatography, plasma mass spectrometry, absorption instruments. Okay. So it's like life science diagnostics market. Pretty cool. I wonder if he sold them, if it's not showing up in this list anymore. That kind of would imply that he sold it, I think. Interesting. $42 billion company. Pretty low yield. Kind of a high PE. Maybe that's why he got out. Looks like it was actually up at 175 at one point. It's come down a bit. Looks like this stock was around back in the 2000 crash. Jeez, if you had bought at the peak, it would have taken you literally until October of 2020 to make your money back. That's absolutely absurd. Citigroup. I'm not too good with the industrials. I'm looking at the next one on the list. The banking sector. I've held some banking stocks in the past, but I just feel like I don't know enough about the field to like be able to pick which banks are going to do better, unless you're just like purely at like assets and margins and such. But industrial gas manufacturing, air products and chemicals, similar, pretty cyclical businesses. It's hard for me to know like where the industry trends are, or like why this one company does better than these others. They do tend to pay higher dividends, but the like up and down share prices, especially over years, like pretty tends to scare me. Canadian Pacific Railway. I don't think railway is a bad place to be, especially during the pandemic. I've been in CSX for a little while. Talked about that. I made a video about that a ways back. Canadian Pacific is just another big railway. Looks like Trust. BTCI shares U.S. real estate. That's weird. I can't tell. That must not even be Bitcoin. That must be something else. Because if this is right, and this is actually 2007, that was certainly not a BlackRock Bitcoin trust. I think the couple that they have out now are like the first ever. Grayscale Bitcoin trust, I mean. Alexander's Inc. Non-residential buildings. Interesting. GM, he owned GM back in 2011. Target back in 2011. That would have been a good one to hold on to. Zoetis. I actually have some Zoetis. This has done very well, actually. It spun off from Pfizer back in 2013, and it's done absolutely crazy. I think that, personally, I believe in the animal health sector. It took off quite a bit during COVID. A lot of people getting pets and stuff, and they also have a pretty large segment around like livestock animals. So yeah, it pulled back. I just got into it recently. It was up at 245. But kind of been buying it the past 2 weeks, just inching in. Greenlight Capital, that sounds like a reinsurer. Starbucks. Nomad Foods, sounds like a frozen specialty foods manufacturing. Interesting, okay. Nike, probably would have been a good one to hold on to. Same with Mandalas. I think Mandalas has done pretty well. It's actually crazy how many brands they own. You don't realize it till you start looking at the packaging. And I spelled it wrong. I guess it's not too crazy since he sold. Or I guess I don't know if that's his sell price or not. Probably not. Oh, that's cool. They show where he didn't buy it. Wow, he actually kind of timed it. Interesting. Procter & Gamble would have been a good one to hold. It doesn't even show his buys. Oh, I guess he sold Agilent in Q3 of 2021, so this was very recent. So he bought in 2019 and sold all the way up, and he perfectly timed the spike. Wow, that's actually impressive. So you can see why this guy is kind of gets a good rep. You can see why people follow him and listen to what he has to say. I think he's pretty neat. He's a pretty activist guy, and he's not afraid to kind of speak out against what everyone thinks. You'll see him on television or interviews. I think he was involved pretty hard back in the, I guess years ago when the pharma boom was going on. Let me look up the name of it. Ackman's biggest losses. Valiant, that's who I'm trying to think of. There was a pharma company, I think now today they're called Bush Health Companies, I could be wrong. But there was apparently it was not a good company. I think they were just using pure acquisitions to grow. They couldn't actually develop anything in-house. You guys can look it up if you want to read more about it. I'm really not qualified to speak on it because that was kind of before my time. But that was a pretty big bust. I think he lost a couple $2 billion when that happened, which he has, clearly made back since. But just trying to think of things that he's known for. But hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know if you have any ideas or feelings about Bill Ackman or his holdings, and I'll see you guys next time.